let us go to the board of Access Core, which yesterday announced the return of Aig-Imoukhuede as the new chairman of Access Core PLC. Aig is the co-founder of today's Access Core Group, alongside the late Aig-Imoukhuede. Aig-Imoukhuede is one of Nigeria's iconic banker who retired some 10 years ago from Access Bank. He was also a one-time president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Johnson Chukwu is a market professional and the group CEO at Carrier Asset Management. He joins me now from our Abuja studios to discuss the return of Aig to Access Bank, the banking system, and what it means for investors. Well, thank you for connecting in tonight and making the show despite your busy business schedule this evening.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Aig is not a stranger on Market Street, on Broad Street as well. I'm sure it's someone that you've had business and markets interaction with. You run one of the investment banking group in Nigeria as well. But what's the word on the street since this announcement was made, the return of Aig into Access Core Group?
Well, I think it's a confirmation of the expectation of most descending operators in the market. Principally because people expected that given the sudden exit of Dr. Aig-Imoukhuede, they need to fill that gap and to continue with the vision of the two of them, that Aig needed to come back to the board. And actually, we're actually expecting that Aig will come back as a group chief executive. But interestingly, coming back as a group chairman, also he will still bring to bear the strategic focus of the bank, because you remember the board is the largest decision-making organ of any institution, and the chairman of the board actually provides a compass for the board in terms of deciding the strategic focus of the company, as well as driving that strategic focus. Not only that, they are also responsible for engaging the executive arm of the governance board. So we're expecting that. So it's a confirmation of what most people had expected.
Interesting, with Aig's return, what would it mean for the financial services group with a global expansion, Pan-African and elsewhere, that we saw Access Bank has a deal on the table to take over about 6 subsidiaries of Standard Bank this year. That's what part of what Aig-Imoukhuede, the late Aig-Imoukhuede, was working on before his unfortunate demise just a few weeks ago. So how will this return of Aig position this forward in the Nigerian financial services sector among his peers, as it were? He is no stranger to them, by the way.
You know, that's why I say that we were expecting Aig to come back. The reality is that given the big picture, the big strategic initiative of the Access Bank Holding Group, as led then by Dr. Aig-Imoukhuede, it was necessary that somebody who shared that vision should be part of that, should come back and drive that process. Principally because these two gentlemen had a very well-developed strategic initiative in taking over Access Bank, the old Access Bank, and turning it to what it is today. They've gone beyond core deposit banking business. They now expand into other aspects of financial services. They own the second largest pension fund administrator in the country. They have interest in insurance and insurance brokerage. But beyond that, you like rightly mentioned, this institution has gone out to acquire, to expand or grow by what you call inorganic growth method, by acquiring other financial institutions. As it stands today, there is no other institution in the country that has the record of the level of acquisition that Access Bank has done. So if you do not bring somebody who shares that vision, it may be difficult for Access Bank to continue with that acquisition strategy, and most importantly, to digest or to assimilate this institution they are acquiring. Like you just pointed out, they are about acquiring Standard Chartered Bank in Africa, and they have just acquired a bank. They have acquired banks in other countries or in Africa, and you know they have also stayed beyond the African continent. So the most appropriate thing to do was to bring somebody who had the same vision, who had the same absolute strategy to drive that process. So I think what will happen in the financial industry is that we should expect a slowdown, which was the concern that people had, that with the sudden exit of Herbert, that the bank strategy may be weakened, or that the force at which the bank was driving to grow may slow down. But with the bringing back his twin brothers, we refer to them, I think it is clear that overall strategic initiative will continue to be driven the way it was designed.
Okay, so if we pitch this now to the doorstep of investors, how should they trade the latest leadership of Aig-Imoukhuede returning as the new chairman for Access Corp? And of course, the bank itself, they have a new group CEO, and also Aig is also in now as the chairman.
I think the market should trade it positively. I think I looked at the market gain today. Despite the slow market performance today, the Access Bank stock gained about 1.35%. But I think we should expect stronger growth because principally what we're looking at now, like there won't be any disruption in the strategic initiative and drive of the bank, that the objective to become one of the biggest banks in Africa will still be driven despite the misfortune the bank suffered. And I think because the reality the bank has the depth and breadth in terms of management skills. If you look at the quality of their directors, both executive and non-executive, and now coming back to drive the original vision, I believe any investor who is interested in the financial services industry should continue to consider Access Bank as one of the picks.
So, you are in the corporate boardroom for many years. Give me, what do you think the lessons are in terms of leadership change or what you call succession plans as we see in Access Corp currently situation? What does that bring to the fore, especially for publicly listed companies to be prepared for the rainy day as we have it right now for Access Group?
Well, Boston, I think it goes beyond even publicly quoted companies. Every good organization should have a succession plan. Without a succession plan, the possibility that an organization could fail because of this kind of misfortune Access Bank suffered could be a real threat. So I think for every organization, and I know for those in the financial services industry, particularly the banking industry, even the pension fund industry, the insurance industry, the regulators require you to come up with a clear succession plan. And when even the corporate governance structure also require that you have a certain number of executive members as well as non-executive directors. So and for the regulated institutions, for people to be approved as the executive directors, they would have met the minimum qualification most times that would make them suitable to take over the role of the chief executive if it becomes necessary. So the key thing that every organization must make sure that their board has the depth and the breadth, that if it becomes necessary, that jobs or roles can be duplicated, or that people who are occupying those positions can at any point in time be replaced if need be.
That's some of the lessons in corporate governance, good corporate governance, as it were. Thank you so much. We appreciate your insight and perspectives on the market as all of you welcome Aig-Imoukhuede back on Market Street into the banking system. Have a great evening. Chukwu, the Group CEO at Carrier Asset Management, live from our Abuja studios.